What do you get when a Twitch streamer waves a gun on stream and accidentally doxes a completely innocent bystander? Well, you get yourself a legal comedy of errors that could be headed straight to a courtroom. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Uncivil Law. My name is Kurt Mueller, a licensed attorney in Texas, Virginia, and before the United States Supreme Court, and I hope you're having a great day. Today, we're going to go over Hasan Piker's latest incident, an explosive tale of gunplay, mistaken identity, and Twitch's lax operations. Will Hasan get thrown under the bus this time, or will Twitch once again have him avoid punishment? Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll be the judge, juror, and executioner of your own opinion. Picture this: you're live streaming to thousands, casually engaging with followers, and someone from the chat types that you should be hanged for treason. So what do? Do you ignore it? Do you simply acknowledge it? Or do you take your response all the way to DEFCON 1? Well, Hasan Piker chose the last of these options and responded with the equivalent of a nuke. So let's get a little bit into it.
In our sincerity and actually delivering for the very working people who've been left behind by our politics, compared with what President Trump has been able to do. You know, over the same period of time that I've been running, has tell him the last person who couldn't get my name right, we defeated then, and that's what it's going to look like again.
So who is Hasan Piker? Well, he's a major internet giant. He's a part political commentator and part insult streamer, and he has millions of followers. On July the 1st of 2025, he went live, and during a politically charged rant, at some point, an overlay from his chat appeared. Instead of addressing it calmly or merely letting it go, Hasan stood up from his chair, removed himself from camera, and then returned with a gun, which he now claims to be a toy gun. He put it up to his own head at one point. He pointed it at the camera at one point, in a heart-racing scene, as if this was a scene in a Quentin Tarantino film. Then he doxed someone, creating a second overlay from YouTube.
Oh, you found his account?
Today, I will show you 3 ways you can use your
Wait, this is the guy?
First thing we want to do is download the YouTube VPN app, which we can do through the first link in the description.
Fuck are you gonna do, bro? Write a petition? Let's do a crusade, he says. Let's do a fucking crusade, he says. Let's hang Hasan and Mamdani for treason, he says. The fuck are you gonna do?
The creator he doxed was called Apex Crypto, and he was convinced that it linked to the troller. This you, he demands? But as it turns out, it wasn't. In one of the worst cases of streamer mistaken identity in recent memory, he doxed a totally innocent creator, someone who had nothing to do with the comment. Rather than apologize, he's continued on as if nothing has happened, and the internet has gone crazy. Now, someone might say, all right, this was an honest mistake. How bad is it? Well, legally, it can be quite bad. When someone is live streaming to thousands, doxing someone with intent, and gun waving isn't a simple mistake, it's a potential criminal powder keg that could be ready to blow. Doxing with intent creates harassment. Harassment can lead to threats and maybe even physical violence. And that gun, whether it's real or not, it can churn the stomach of a reasonable person. This isn't just Hasan being Hasan. This is a situation that can warrant criminal punishment. By streaming in this way, Hasan has also potentially opened himself up to civil liability. So what laws did Hasan breach? Let's analyze the relevant law. Of course, Hasan streamed in California, so that's the relevant law, and California law could hit him like a fastball to the cheek. We see a couple major legal issues that arise in this situation. First is the crime of brandishing a weapon. In California, when a person displays a firearm, real or imitation, it is deemed threatening, whether or not ultimately carried out. It would be a little bit like taking out a switchblade during a bar fight. Even if the switchblade is fake, you don't have to stab someone to get arrested. Waving it around with intent to threaten is enough. In this situation, Hasan is brandishing this weapon, barking at a troll. Does it sound threatening? It does to me. You might be saying it's a toy, it shouldn't matter, but the law doesn't care. if it shoots Nerf darts or real bullets. It's all about what can induce fear to the reasonably prudent person. And in this situation, it looked real enough. I'd interpret it as a threat. Secondly, we have the crime of criminal threats, potentially even terroristic threats. Now, this can be a little bit nuanced in parts. If someone makes another person reasonably fear for his life, for example, by saying, "I have a gun and I know where you live," law enforcement would be knocking at your door. While Hasan didn't explicitly say that he would shoot someone, this whole situation is in regard to calling someone out by name. This person was Apex Crypto, and in conjunction with that gun, Apex Crypto could be left sweating. In this situation, the intent plus the perception could lead to the conviction for threatening behavior. Then, lastly, there is the electronic harassment angle, essentially doxing, intentionally putting someone else's information out online with intent to hound or harass. That's a crime. Imagine you took out a billboard in downtown Los Angeles. You put someone's name and contact information on the billboard along with a "come fight at me" underneath. That would certainly be doxing, and this situation is the same. Either way, the contact information is being displayed by millions. Hasan tried to dox a troll, but he ended up doxing Apex instead. He might have had the wrong information for the wrong person, but he had the right intent, and in this kind of situation, intent follows the bullet. Scenarios like this show that it doesn't matter if you attempted to do something illegal and fail, you still are on that docket. And that so-called toy gun, even if it is a toy gun, in California has some serious laws about imitation firearms. In California, all imitation firearms must have an orange tip, meaning if someone sees it, they'll see it's fake. If that tip is removed or discolored or painted over in any way, in California, that's illegal. When Hasan used that gun, it did not have an orange tip. Therefore, even if it's a fake gun, he's in violation of California state law. As we're trying to figure this all out, you might be wondering, where does Twitch fall into all this? Will they give Hasan a serious punishment, or will they turn a blind eye while the chat goes 100? Well, let's look a little bit into it. Twitch has its own community guidelines, much like a legal code. But how do they apply to a celebrity and a big earner like Hasan? Is it rules for thee, but not rules for me? Let's consider whether Twitch is acting as a neutral referee or as part of the Hasan Piker fan club. Twitch's community standards say no threats, no harassment, and no doxing, in no uncertain words. Hasan's so-called hoax checks off all these boxes, so one would think the ban hammer would follow him. However, it hasn't. At this time, Twitch has not banned or even sanctioned Hasan for this content. Yet, other smaller streamers have been yeeted off the platform with no explanation for much more minor offenses, like dropping the F-bomb or getting confused with a toy gun. It feels in this situation as though the teacher has ignored the class clown but gives detention to everyone else. This online discourse that this creates is creating an uneven playing field. Hasan is an earner, boasting millions of views, and his ad revenue is Twitch's cash cow. It seems like Twitch simply doesn't want to lose the revenue, or it just doesn't care for political reasons. Either way, this whole situation fosters a disrespectful environment for those previously banned for much more minor offenses when compared to Hasan's so-called prank. In addition, this could cause other streamers to sue Twitch. If other streamers decide to file a lawsuit based on this preferential treatment, such as in a breach of contract action, they may have a sound argument. In this situation, Twitch has opened itself up to a whole world of corporate liability. Hasan's stream has created a cautionary tale of what not to do, and Twitch's lackadaisical response is resulting in a potential legal hell. So this whole situation is a legal streaming debacle in the making. What are we as streamers supposed to learn from this incident by Hasan doxing others and displaying a gun? Are we supposed to learn that this is acceptable behavior now on Twitch? But what do you think? Do you think Hasan is afraid of getting kicked off the platform or even sued? Or should he not be surprised by this underreaction because of the nature of his previous streamer's existence? And what about Twitch? Are they serious about their terms of service, or are they a refuge for the privileged? And do you think that they're doing this out of malice or of some sort of ignorance? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, and make sure to stay subscribed for more legal content as we continue this and other discussions right here. Until next time, I've been Uncivil Law, and until later, my friends, cheers and goodbye.